Thursday of the 16th week in Ordinary Time.
A reading from the book of Exodus. In the 3rd month after their departure from the land of Egypt, on its first day, the children of Israel came to the desert of Sinai. After the journey from Rephidim to the desert of Sinai, they pitched camp. While Israel was encamped here in front of the mountain, the Lord told Moses, "I am coming to you in a dense cloud, so that when the people hear me speaking with you, they may always have faith in you also." When Moses then had reported to the Lord the response of the people, the Lord added, "Go to the people and have them sanctify themselves today and tomorrow. Make them wash their garments and be ready for the 3rd day. For on the 3rd day the Lord will come down on Mount Sinai before the eyes of all the people." On the morning of the 3rd day there were peals of thunder and lightning, and a heavy cloud over the mountain, and a very loud trumpet blast, so that all the people in the camp trembled. But Moses led the people out of the camp to meet God, and they stationed themselves at the foot of the mountain. Mount Sinai was all wrapped in smoke, for the Lord came down upon it in fire. The smoke rose from it as though from a furnace, and the whole mountain trembled violently. The trumpet blast grew louder and louder while Moses was speaking and God answering him with thunder. When the Lord came down to the top of Mount Sinai, he summoned Moses to the top of the mountain. The word of the Lord.
The responsorial psalm. The response is, "Glory and praise forever." Blessed are you, O Lord, the God of our fathers, praiseworthy and exalted above all forever. And blessed is your holy and glorious name, praiseworthy and exalted above all for all ages. Glory and praise forever. Blessed are you in the temple of your holy glory, praiseworthy and glorious above all forever. Glory and praise forever. Blessed are you on the throne of your kingdom, praiseworthy and exalted above all forever. Glory and praise forever. Blessed are you who look into the depths from your throne upon the cherubim, praiseworthy and exalted above all forever. Glory and praise forever. Blessed are you in the firmament of heaven, praiseworthy and glorious forever. Glory and praise forever.
A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Matthew. The disciples approached Jesus and said, "Why do you speak to the crowd in parables?" He said to them in reply, "Because knowledge of the mysteries of the kingdom of heaven has been granted to you, but to them it has not been granted. To anyone who has, more will be given, and he will grow rich. From anyone who has not, even what he has will be taken away. This is why I speak to them in parables, because they look but do not see, and hear but do not listen or understand. Isaiah's prophecy is fulfilled in them, which says, 'You shall indeed hear but not understand. You shall indeed look but never see. Gross is the heart of this people. They will hardly hear with their ears. They have closed their eyes, lest they see with their eyes, and hear with their ears, and understand with their hearts, and be converted, and I heal them. But blessed are your eyes because they see, and your ears because they hear. Amen, I say to you, many prophets and righteous people longed to see what you see but did not see it, and to hear what you hear but did not hear it." The Gospel of the Lord.
Thursday of the 16th week in Ordinary Time. The first reading is from the book of Exodus, chapter 19, verses 1 to 2, 9 to 11, and 16 to 20b. The people have left Israel a few months ago, and God is going to manifest His presence to the people, but especially to Moses. He is going to come in a thick cloud, and He's going to speak to them. So the people purify themselves and gather around the mountain. Now this is Mount Sinai, also called Mount Horeb, the mountain of the Lord. Moses is the only one who's allowed to go up that mountain, and God appears to the people in a great theophany. There's thunder, there's lightning, there's a sound like a great trumpet blast. Now some people say that sounds just like a volcanic explosion. And so they try to track the route of the people leaving Egypt, going to Israel, by way of a volcano that is found in Saudi Arabia. But that might not be the case. This is simply the manifestation of God, and therefore it is a very miraculous deed. The way that God appears to Moses on Mount Sinai should be contrasted with the way that He appears to Elijah on the same mountain. Remember, when He appears to Elijah, it's not in fire, it's not in the hurricane, it's not in the earthquake, but rather in a quiet whispering breeze. God doesn't always appear to us in a fire and light show. Sometimes it's through everyday simple actions. Well, Moses goes up to the top of the mountain, and this is where he's going to encounter God, who will give the 10 Commandments for the people of Israel. The Gospel is from Matthew 13, 10-17. Jesus speaks to the disciples and explains why He tells everything to the people in parables. When He says it, it almost sounds like He doesn't want them to understand, but that's not the case. He's quoting from Isaiah, and the implication in Isaiah, the prophet has to go to the people and tell them clearly. A parable is an explanation of God's ways in very simple language. Then if they choose not to believe, it's their own fault, because God has made the message as clear as possible. It's their fault if they reject it. Then Jesus goes on and says, "But blessed are your ears, for you hear things that the prophets wanted to hear but didn't." That in fact, Jesus is revealing to them the mystery of God's love that is being manifested in His person, in His life, and His death on the cross, and in His resurrection. That they have been particularly chosen for this mission. Why? Because this is God's will. And that's one of the most difficult things to accept in our faith. Why them and why not others? They certainly weren't the best and the brightest. God chooses as God chooses. It's not ours to question why. It's ours to embrace God's will and to follow Him wherever He leads us. And may God bless us.